Welcome to the Chris Hanna Show. Hey everyone, today I want to talk about a concept that I've thought a lot about in recent years. And that is a handful of moments define someone's life. Doesn't matter if we're talking career, personally or professionally. I think this is true. My life thus far has gone through a lot of ups and downs and some journeys that, I sometimes talk about publicly and sometimes I don't. But the reality is that there are certain moments where you've decided to go left and maybe you should have went right. Or there are times where something happened to you or near you or to someone close to you and you're forever changed. There are times in my career where I've been given the opportunity to go for a promotion and not get it, and my reaction would decide my fate. There are times where things have happened personally in my life that have impacted me, and that's taken me in a different direction as well. A couple moments that come to mind that I really want to talk about today that might resonate for some of you as well when you think about a handful of moments defining someone's life is 1, getting a promotion, 2, getting fired, and 3, choosing enough's enough. So we talk about the first one, getting a promotion. A lot of people think that they want to get promoted, but then when they do, sometimes they're miserable. And then sometimes people just work towards getting that promotion because that's what they truly think that they want. So a number of years back, I applied for a position and I was so passionate about it. I thought, okay, this is the role for me. It just seemed like the right fit. I was so excited about it. And then I applied. I put in all this time and effort, put together a great presentation, put together a nice, resume that I was just ready to share my story of why this was my time to get that next role. I submit my resume. A week goes by, nothing. 2 weeks goes by, nothing. I reach out because I'm confident, this role is for me. I was talking to the person in charge of this position. I had a sense this role was coming for me. It seemed to be mine, and it didn't happen for some reason. There was just silence. And so I reached out and I asked, and they said, no, we decided to go another direction. We're hiring somebody else externally. And I was shocked because I thought, 1, I felt like this role was perfect for me. 2, there had been some conversations leading up to this saying this could be a position that might be something I'd be maybe interested in or I might have a good skill set for. And 3, I just felt ready. And I think where it comes to defining my life is how you react to it. I thought about a couple different ways. I thought I could, unfortunately, I thought I would maybe blow up and kind of just tell people how it is and storm out. Obviously not the best way to do it, so I decided not to go down that path. The other option I thought of was just, suffer in silence. That obviously is not an approach that I wanted to do either. I thought about applying then just for any other job that I could just to get out because I just felt so scorned. But then I chose option 4, where I thought maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe it wasn't the position for me. And ultimately, just to make this story a bit shorter, I did realize that role wouldn't be for me and I would be miserable doing it. So I felt like I dodged a bullet at the end of the day by not getting the position. But what it did for me is that it pushed me to go and follow my passion, which led to here, of why I'm doing this podcast, why I've been doing speaking at different conferences, why I've been contributing in a variety of different associations and producing my own content, is because I started to realize I don't want to have my fate rest in the hands of someone else. Getting rejected for a potential promotion where I thought that I wanted, it was the best thing that never happened to me. Because I think we grow up and we take a role and we're told that sky's the limit. So you think you need to climb the corporate ladder, but when you start climbing the ladder, you start to see certain things. and you start to realize that maybe getting to that next step isn't worth it, or it doesn't matter. And so then you see a different path where you can create your own world and maybe take the entrepreneurial route, or find a hybrid model where you can still work full-time in a role that pays your bills, but you can do something outside of your core hours that gives you fulfillment. And that's where I get into having this podcast or doing some of the other content and work that I do, is that it provides me a tremendous source of fulfillment. And whether I made money or not, this is something that I just love to do. So getting rejected for promotion was something that definitely defined my life. The other one is also getting fired. I was fired in a previous role and let go. And that absolutely crushed me, both personally and professionally. Losing my job was devastating. It was devastating because you're doing so well, you're at the top, things are going along so smooth, and then to be blindsided and it comes out of nowhere can be an absolute killer. It defined my life because it taught me that I needed to start over and rebuild. You need to rebuild yourself. You need to learn how to pick yourself back up and move forward. You can't wallow forever. And now it took a long time to rebuild myself and to get to the point where I am today. But it was a journey that if I look back, I would never want to change. I'd never want to get rid of the fact that I lost my job many years ago. I learned so much more about myself and what I want in life when I didn't have a job, when I didn't have a direction, or I didn't know what I was going to do next. It taught me to be resilient. It taught me to be strong. And it taught me that I can overcome. So losing my job was something that I thought was incredibly important for me to go through. The other one I want to talk about is a simple one, but it's something that just resonated with me quite a bit. Is I was driving in my car to work one day, and I was listening to a podcast, and someone started talking about the importance of choosing to be happy, or you can choose to be miserable. And that drive for the 15 minutes it was from my home to work got me thinking. That's so true. You do choose your level of happiness. Your world is created by you. And a 20-second spot in a podcast absolutely changed my outlook with my life from that moment forward. Because I started to realize is that I was choosing to be upset and miserable at some of the stupidest things imaginable. I was choosing to be annoyed when things didn't go my way, or when something happened that disrupted my plan. And I'd get so angry and frustrated by it internally that it started to affect me in different ways. So then I started to realize that I needed to choose how I cared about things. And so after a while, I started talking to a mentor of mine, and he also reminded me of a similar fact, which I thought was an interesting parallel in the same week to hear basically the same thing, is that you need to choose how much you care. You need to choose your level of content and how happy you are. But the whole choosing how much you care, and to hear it on a podcast and hear it in a mentor in the same week, made me think differently about life as I move forward. I started to realize that there are other priorities in life than the things that I was focusing on. And that sometimes good enough is good enough. And that it doesn't matter what's going on if things don't go perfect. You don't need to micromanage situations or your life, or you don't need to choose to accept certain situations either. And that you have the ability to do whatever you want to do if you're willing to put in the time, the effort, and the work. to make that possible. And that's one thing that is important, I think, for a lot of people to remember, is that you have the choice and you have the time. It's up to you to decide what you want to do with it. I say a handful of moments define someone's life, and that is so true. But you have a role to play in deciding what are those moments going to be, or how will you react? Are you going to react positively or negatively? Your reaction will determine what happens, what the impact is on your life. You choose your life. Every decision you make, from the mundane to the monumental, has led you to exactly where you are today. The decisions that I have made in my life have led me to this chair today. This is the chair I sit in because of the choices that I have made. And you have to live with that. You have to live with being okay that you are where you are because of yourself. You can blame other people, you can blame the world, but the reality is that every choice you make determines every step you take and where you go in life. So, the handful of moments that define your life, they can be big, like losing a job or getting turned down for a promotion, but they can also be small. Sometimes, the smallest decision can lead you down a path you never thought possible. And that's how you can achieve more, when you start to look back at it all and realize all these little connections and how the world works. It's pretty powerful. So again, make the right choices or don't. That's fine. You make whatever choice you want to make, but live with the consequences of those choices. Use your time as you see fit, but just accept that whatever choice you make is going to get you to wherever that destination is, and you got to be happy with it either way.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Chris Hanna Show. As always, the latest episodes are available to listen and subscribe to on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow The Chris Hanna Show on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Twitter for more resources and solutions, including blog posts, toolkits, ebooks, speaking sessions, and more. Visit chrishanna.ca today. We look forward to connecting again with you soon for another episode of The Chris Hanna Show.